morning to everybody. Welcome to this session. Let's talk business, how to commercialize breakthrough research. I hope that you had yesterday a very interesting participation to these R&I days, and the standard was set very high. So I hope that today, and I'm certain that we will, with these three distinguished speakers, match the standards. Let me say that the discussion today is very timely. Yesterday it was an important day. Not only we had the R&I day starting, but also we had a very important event here in Brussels 1 year after the Draghi report, with a speech from the President of the Commission in which she highlighted how important has been this year for carrying out important initiatives to reply to this wake-up call that Mario Draghi has addressed to the Commission last year. And also we heard from Professor Draghi that there is no time to wait, that we need to act quickly. And one of the things that we have to do, and we have to do better, is to really be able to translate the results of the research into commercial deployments and breakthrough innovation. Here I'm very happy to be with three distinguished speakers that I would like to introduce you. They will help us to see how, in the best possible way, we can accelerate this journey from the lab to the market. So let me first of all introduce Anne, Dr. Anne Lane. Anne, she is the CEO of the University College in London Business. Anne has made a long career, first in academic research in the UK and in the USA, and then in business development in a startup company in Canada, before returning to the UK to work at the UCLB, where she is holding the position of CEO. Her organization has demonstrated a strong leadership in spin-out creation, raising over 3 billion euro in investment and supporting a portfolio of 95 active companies in 2023-2024. Congratulations for that, Anne. We have as a second speaker, Harald Holzer. Harald is the head of the Innovation and Startup Center, HIGHEST. Already the name says a lot. At the Technical University of Darmstadt. Harald drives the university's mission to translate research into impactful innovations. His work focuses on creating optimal conditions for scientists, students, and investors to collaborate and bring ideas to the market. Harald has a background as a founder, business angel, and CEO, and he brings here hands-on experience to his role. HIGHEST plays a central role in fostering entrepreneurship with the universities and is part of the Futurist Startup Factory initiative alongside other top institutions in the region. Last but not least, we have Gilles Requena. Gilles is a chief patent researcher at the European Patent Office. Gilles plays a key role in shaping the European Patent Office approach to supporting innovation through effective patent systems and forward-looking policy development. Gilles is known for promoting the strategic use of intellectual property to foster entrepreneurship, particularly in emerging technology sectors. So with these three distinguished speakers, I would like to start the debate with the first question to Anne. First of all, welcome here again, Anne. What I wanted to ask you is what strategic approaches or frameworks have been most effective in achieving this level of success, and how is UCLB adapting its spin-out model in light of evolving global challenges such as economic security and turbulence in the global trade?
Well, thank you. I think they're both very good questions. I think the first one, in terms of why we've been able to be successful with our spin-outs, is really three main principles. So firstly, quality and impact. So we really set a high bar for our spin-outs. They have to be robust, and they have to have a unique market fit, I would say, firstly. And then secondly, they have to have a strong impact. So whether that's changing healthcare or whether that's contributing towards net zero, they have to have a strong impact. So we set that high bar first. I think the second thing is in terms of doing rapid and fair deals. So if it's a fast-moving technology like AI, clearly they want to be market leaders and get there first. So we have fixed structures. For instance, we have a program called Portico Ventures where we will take a fixed share of equity for a fixed service level. And then we also have bespoke approaches for companies in, say, cell and gene therapy, like Autolus, where we would need to invest a lot of time and money, and therefore we will structure our deal accordingly. And then lastly, I think, and probably the most importantly, is support for the founders and inventors all the way through the journey, from offering free patenting and legal costs, and then following that up with training. We have programs to train entrepreneurial skills amongst the academics. And then I think in terms of funding, so we have our own internal proof of concept fund, which I think is key from bridging that gap from translational funding to actually making something attractive to investors. And then we also have our own investment fund, which can go up to a Series A fund. And I think those three principles have actually really supported that. I think in terms of the turbulence, the economic global turbulence at the moment, I'd say the key to that is collaboration. So working with other institutions around the world to get their insights and best practice and actually build a really strong network. So UCL is part of the 10U group, and you might have heard of the Use It guides, so for spin-out terms and also for software licensing and spin-outs. And that has been really valuable to us in making sure we can see what problems are coming down the line and then how other people have dealt with those and how we might do the same.
Thank you very much, Anne. So impact, support, and also looking at what happens outside Europe. Very important.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed. Harald, I wanted to ask you, how has this multi-university collaboration enhanced your ability to support student and researcher entrepreneurs? And what lessons can be drawn from this model to scale entrepreneurial ecosystems across academic institutions more broadly?
Thank you for this great question. For us, real breakthrough came when we decided to stop working in silos. We universities are specialists in doing our own things. But we understood that the real change in entrepreneurship and startup business could only happen by scale. That's why we created the Rhine-Main Startup Factories together with Technical University of Darmstadt, University of Mainz, Goethe University of Frankfurt, and Frankfurt Business School. And pooling these strengths, we gave us critical mass. We reached 100,000 students, 250,000 in the region. We reached 15,000 researchers, more than 100 corporate partners. And this gave us a real momentum. Ideas didn't just stay in the lab. They went through a completely journey, completely process, and corporates came very, very early in this phase. And this approach unlocked 10 million in private investment in Germany and up to 10 million public funding, because we were one of the 10 lighthouse regions from the Federal Public of Affairs. And for us, important is to create a full journey from the first idea to Series C, because that's what real impact takes. And we call this journey Innovate, Create, and Scale. And the most important thing near scaling up is that Futury, the Future Factory, brings corporates very, very early in this stage. That means our researchers don't think about in a lab about products maybe nobody would need. They will get very early in contact with these corporates, and this helps to fit, that solutions fit more in the praxis. And the most exciting part is we're seeing scientific ideas reach the market faster. And corporates who have never worked successful with spin-offs are now actively engaging with them. And to your last question, what could I share a lesson for Europe? Collaboration beats fragmentation. we must scale to critical mass. Mass is very, very important, and we must bring corporates very early to spin-offs so they will become investable and successful. And I think this could help Europe building a true global innovation hotspot. And we heard yesterday and we heard today, this is what Europe needs right now.
Thank you very much, Harald. So I retain breaking silos, collaboration, and scaling up. Let me say to the audience here that the European Commission has adopted a strategy on startups and scale up. And we are in full speed in implementing the strategy, replying to the call of Mario Draghi not to waste time and to act very quickly. And for example, one of the key measures will be the launching of a major EU startup fund that will be launched at the beginning of next year, really to support the scaling up and hoping to cope with some of the points that you have highlighted, Harald. So now let me turn to Gilles. Gilles, well, I wanted to ask you, what specific initiatives or tools has the European Patent Office put in place to help academic innovators better navigate the patent system and attract investment for their research-based innovations?
Thank you for the question. Good morning, everyone. I'm coming from the European Patent Office. I don't know if you know our organization. We're not an EU agency, but we are the second largest European organization, and we work very closely with the EU institution, especially the Commission and DG RTD, so I'm very pleased for the invitation today. Our job is to examine roughly 200,000 patent applications per year, and for that we have 4,000 engineers qualified in all fields of technologies. And why a patent is important and should matter to you, at least you should be aware of it. A patent is just a tool from a toolbox for an inventor. And when you have this right, for example, if you are startups, you have 10 more times chance to raise funds. Why? Because a patent will enforce the solidity of your case, and investors, of course, are interested in lowering the risk. So this is just an example of a patent can help you and help your life. Of course, the first job of a patent office is to grant high-quality rights. To help you to develop your business, it's only if you are a solid basis, you can develop it through a network, you can exploit yourself, your invention, you can also license your invention, you can transfer the inventions. All that is supported by the patent. So this is really something that should be aware. It doesn't mean that you should use it, but you should know it exists. So this is the first job of a patent office, is to grant high-quality rights. The EPO is known to be the office granting the highest quality patents in the world. So when we speak about competition between US, China, and so on, Europe should be proud to have this tool at hand here to support innovation. It's not, of course, something that is achieved forever. It's a race, and you need always to improve your system, improve your tools. We have the largest databases of patents in the world. More than 116 million patents are recorded from all over the world. And this database is freely accessible on our website. It's called EspaceNet. Here you can search and so on. So before entering into the process and so on, if you are an inventor, if you want to invest and so on, first you check. Does anyone is already inventing something similar? Is it not a waste of resources, of money? So this is freely accessible. So this is a basic first step to be done by anyone entering in an innovation process. We're continuing the development of these tools, and more, and this is part of our collaboration with DG RTD in particular. We are developing since, of course, I will not go into the details, but we went through as well the digital transformation, especially entities in charge of data management. So we are offering more and more services, providing business intelligence to economic actors. One recent example is a deep tech finder. It's a tool, also fully accessible on the EPO website. You can also download the app from any store, Google Store, Apple Store. And here you will find 12,000 entities, 10,000 startups, 1,000 universities with European patents. You will get information about the status of the patent. We have an agreement with Dealroom, which provides financial information. So in the same place, you will find how strong is the startup, which investor put some money here and so on. So this is a new kind of services showing how we can also use our technical intelligence to support the ecosystem. We are doing other things also. We are, for 1 year from now, we are offering fee discount for small businesses, enterprises, universities, individual public research organizations. So there is a series of activities that we have developed over time. And of course, it's just the beginning. We were supporting also Mr. Mario Draghi when he issued his report, providing intelligence on technology trends. We are publishing a lot of studies. I invite you to visit the website of the observatory. And finally, my conclusion would be, you should be aware of a new title, which exists now for a bit more than 2 years, called the unitary patent. We just talk about the issue of Europe being fragmented. We are diverse, we are rich, we have excellent education system. We are producing more startups than the US in Europe. The problem is a problem of scaling up and getting the size to build the new champions. So this is an issue that we work together, and especially with DGRTD. And one instrument which helped to overcome this market fragmentation in Europe is unitary patent, where you get a single patent protecting now 18 member states, including Germany, Italy, and so on. Unfortunately, the UK, sorry, because of the Brexit, is not there anymore, but UK was extremely active in building unitary patent, and British enterprises are using intensively this. And this is extremely popular for universities and SMEs because they reduce your cost by more than 75%. So everyone should be aware about the existence of unitary patent because this is a game changer for innovation in Europe.
Well, thank you very much, Gilles. I retain that it's important that we are all aware of the European patent, of the tools that exist in the European Patent Office, and also that we are mobilized in order to tackle the fragmentation that creates so much damages at European level. And by the way, thanks for the very good cooperation with DG RTD. I would like now to turn to the audience. I see that there is a full room here, and also we have many participants online. And before moving to the next round of questions, I would like to inform you that you can access the Slido through the QR code which is visible on the screen. And I would like to put forward a question on which we would like to hear from the audience, which is exactly what is for you the key ingredient to commercialize breakthrough research in Europe. We will look at the replies after the second round of questions that we will tackle now. I will turn back to you, Anne. Anne, you have been pioneering technology transfer for social ventures, helping researchers turn socially focused ideas into impactful enterprises. And I wanted to ask you if you could briefly tell us more about how your support to social ventures is working and what lessons can other universities take from your model.
Thank you. I think the key for our social ventures initiatives were really to appoint a business manager who was dedicated to social ventures. And I think we were the first TTO to do that. And then the second thing really, again, is collaboration. So we are part of the London Social Ventures Fund, and that's a pan-London initiative that provides training and also supports inventors who want to start a social venture in pitching to investors, because the investor groups for social ventures and social enterprise usually are very different to the normal investors that we would go to for our other spin-outs. I think in terms of the lessons to learn from what we've done, I really think that by doing social ventures, you're much more aligned usually with your academic base. It's something that they tend to be able to identify with much more. And you open up areas of research that perhaps hadn't even considered commercialization, initially for social ventures, but very often then for more commercial endeavors. And for instance, if you look at anthropology, we usually wouldn't have considered talking to the Department of Anthropology. They probably wouldn't have considered talking to us. But had the anthropologists been involved when Facebook was set up, they might well have helped them to avoid a lot of the problems that they've now run into. So I think there are lots of lessons to come from that, and there are lots of advantages of doing social ventures that might not be immediately apparent. But definitely the key was having a dedicated manager who knew about that space.
Thank you very much, Anne. Very inspiring. Harald, I would like to turn back to you. Your university has pioneered the so-called IP for virtual shares model. This innovative model for IP transfer benefits both universities and startups, enabling startups to retain commercial flexibility while universities avoid complex investment structures. I wanted to ask you, how has this approach reshaped the university's relationship with spin-offs, and in what ways do you see this model contributing to a broader shift in how research-intensive institutions think about IP transfers and equity in Europe?
Thank you. We had to reshape universities' relationship with our spin-offs. Ask any founder. Building the tech is often an easy part, but negotiating IP with university or research institution could be very hard. We have a strong patent, should be this, we have spin-offs, and they would like to use the patents, and this is in some cases a challenge. And when I started at TTO at TU Darmstadt 5 years ago, I asked a simple question. Why aren't we producing so much startups like MIT or Silicon Valley? I had different answers. And one answer I always heard, the IP transfer is a challenge. It was too complicated, too slow, and often felt unfair to founders and investors. And the traditional license or patent sales models, especially in the deep tech area, not in the life science area, trade liquidity, slow deals, sometimes scared of investors. And at this time, one deep tech startups asked for an alternative model. And that was the initial, the starting point for our model IP for virtual shares. IP for virtual shares is quite simple. We have two simple steps. The first step, we transfer the patent into the startup. And the second one, instead of taking money or cash or equity, TU Darmstadt receives virtual shares, a purely financial participation. And this keeps the cap table clean, avoids early founder dilution, and gives investors confidence. And from our experience, it's a win-win for everyone. Founders move fast on, investors see a clear structure, and we benefit when the company succeeds, full aligning with the interests of the team. And the result was several deep tech spin-offs at TU Darmstadt already used this model, and feedback from the founders and investors was quite good. And seen also in the US or UK or Netherlands, this model could make European spin-offs faster, more investable, and globally competitive. And to your second question, this model, the virtual share model, has dramatically improved our relationship to spin-offs, even those who choose a different model. Why? Because they feel we are truly on their side. And at the end of the day, I think universities or research organization has to change the mindset. They should not be along the gatekeeper for IP. They should be an enabler for innovation. And that's my recommendation. Yeah, thank you for the EU.
Thank you indeed. The enabler for innovation, that's a very good recommendation. I also wanted to say that the startup scale-up strategy that the European Commission adopted has a specific focus on deep tech. So my last question to Gilles. Gilles, I wanted to ask you if you could briefly expand on how the European Patent Office is working with technology transfer offices to strengthen university industry pathways, IP training and startup creation. If you could have present to us briefly some examples of joint programs or tools that have helped the researchers in TTOs for these endeavors.
Thank you. This sentence, from lab to market, can be a very long journey. You will not transform most researchers into entrepreneurs. So the role of intermediary is absolutely fundamental here to get it right. And TTOs have a clear role to play. And we think that there is not enough recognition of the role of TTOs in Europe. This is a big issue. Of course, it's a very diverse networks. We work in particular in the context of the EP organization with PATLIP centers. You have something like more of 300 PATLIP centers in Europe. Europe for us is 39 member states, so from Turkey to Norway, the UK and Spain. And of course, you have extremely diverse level of services. Some are barely distributing some documentation. Some are providing the full set of services, even like free trade assessment and so on. So we need to help them to scale up the level of services. So this is a program we have launched 5 years ago called patlib.com too. And we also help them to provide the material, the content, if you want to train people. So we have an academy at the EPO, and we offer, it's also free online modules that you can use to build courses in IP, courses in patent. We have made case studies, also with the support of TTOs. It's very important, this peer-to-peer dialogue, and to show that this is not a huge administrative process to go through a patent system, and there is a reward at the end. And also what we do next year, I spoke about the EPO Observatory publishing studies on actors of the ecosystem, like startups in 23, universities in 24. This next month, it will be about public research organizations. And in close association with TTO Association of Europe, we are going to publish a study on TTOs in October 2026. So I guess it will be on time with the implementation of the instrument that you just mentioned, prepared by DGRTD. We have even a collaboration between TTOs in Europe with African universities. So it's really diverse, and it is based on the wealth of resources, which is freely accessible. So I just encourage you. You can get access to the academy program. You can follow online courses, and with a specialist, which will help explain to you how to get from A to B and B to C and so on. This journey that you just spoke about.
Thank you very much. That's all very interesting. I see that the audience was strongly engaged, so let's go through some of the replies that we have received. I see that to the question, what is the key ingredient to commercialize breakthrough research in Europe? We have the access to funding and investing opportunities, which is the strongest point that was made by the audience, the change of entrepreneurial mindset and business education for researchers and innovators. We spoke about that. Obviously, strong academia, stronger collaboration between academia and industry that we really do want to promote, and a connected pan-European innovation ecosystem and cross-border collaboration. We spoke about that too. And last but not least, support to the IP management and technology transfer. And I was really glad that we heard this morning also concrete examples on how through the different instruments, including in the European Patent Office, we are providing this support. So with that, I want to really thank all of you. I would like to thank the three distinguished speakers for the very insightful interventions. I would like to thank the audience for engaging and participating to this session. I would like to thank my colleagues for having organized this session in such a great way. And I think that the best words that I should use to conclude this session is let's be fast, let's move, let's take up the opportunities that we have, let's not waste time to really talk about the business, turn research into business and make Europe competitive in the world, also partnering with our key partners outside Europe. With that, I wish you a very nice coffee break, and let me recall that we will have a very interesting session on AI in science at 11 o'clock, and you're very warmly invited. Thank you.